Hi there. Here's what's happened in the world today. I was going through YouTube today and I noticed that a video that just came out today by a band called Loona, called Flip That, is doing extremely well on trending with almost 2 million views in just a few hours. And I'd never heard of this group before at all. Apparently they're from Korea. And so I listened to the song and I just started reading some articles and I've uncovered some really crazy stuff about this band Loona that I wanted to share today so we could figure out what is actually going on with this band. They just came out of nowhere. There's like 12 girls in the band and, they're very typical of that K-pop thing. They're all dancing and doing choreographed routines, and they've got the soft lighting all over the place, and they've got the happy one, and they've got the edgy one, and they've got the rebellious one. They all seem to have these like archetypes that have been going on, since the New Kids on the Block in the 80s and, Backstreet Boys and NSYNC in the 90s. It seems that the boy band, girl band trend just keeps continuing on forever and ever. And so a lot of people are very much into this band Loona. They know the names of each of these girls and, different details about them. So this isn't necessarily for me, but I want to get now into this scandal that I wanted to talk about today. So I started looking them up just here on Wikipedia and I saw, okay, Loona, they're a South Korean girl group and they were formed by a company called Blockberry Creative, which I guess is their record label. So I was like, Blockberry Creative sounds a little bit like BlackBerry, the cell phone company that nobody knows about anymore. So I went ahead and checked out Blockberry. It's a South Korean record label that was formed in 2016, and it's a subsidiary of another company called Polaris Entertainment. So I was like, okay, well, what the heck is Polaris Entertainment? Well, that is another record label that was founded in 2006, and this is really interesting. Polaris Entertainment used to be known as a company called Ilgwang Polaris, and this company was formerly a subsidiary when it was called Ilgwang Polaris of a company called the Ilgwang Group. And the Ilgwang Group is a large corporation in South Korea, and their main industry is actually the arms trade. This company made guns, explosives, missiles, rockets to kill people, and then took the profits from these murder machines to spin out music. And so at a certain point, the Ilgwang Group, the one that makes the guns, sold their label, Ilgwang Polaris, to another company, which is called Levite United. And interestingly enough, this new company, Levite United, is owned by the founder of the gun company, Lee Kyu-tae, his son, Lee Jong-myung. And so the father here, Lee Kyu-tae, is the one that makes all the guns and said, I'm a little bit interested in music as well. And the son, who's clearly a very rich kid growing up with the profits from his father's gun business, said, I'm interested in music. And so, Dad, can I buy your music label and so I can start my own music career, start my own bands and everything like that? He had a bit of a vision for it. Kind of like a Lou Pearlman right here, who you'll see in this mugshot over here. Lou Pearlman is a guy that's extremely well known for making boy bands, including the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. And it turns out that he was actually money laundering, making false statements during a bankruptcy proceeding, running a Ponzi scam, stealing money from people, and he actually died in prison in 2016. So he went from being a big shot on top of the world to a nobody, and it's kind of interesting the similarities between them here. So this right here is the son right here that owns the company that Loona is a part of. This guy's name is Lee Jong-myung. So this is the son right here. Don't know too much about him, but he runs a company which is called Levite United, and underneath Levite United is Polaris Entertainment and Blockberry Creative, the actual company that represents Loona. So you can see this weird umbrella situation with all these multiple companies underneath it. I'm not sure why it's such a complicated structure there. I don't get it. I'm not sure if the dad is still involved in any way at all. There's been nothing bad said about the son here, but his father does have quite a number of allegations following him around. In fact, we'll go into it right now. So this is the father right here. His name is Lee Kyu-tae, as we mentioned before, the founder and owner of the Ilkwang Group. And so this guy in 2018 was the focus of several different allegations involving sexual harassment of an actress named Clara. And she actually sued him in January of 2018 for sending abusive text messages to her. And so in August of 2018, 8 months after she sued him, the South Korean government actually arrested him for stealing 50 billion won, which is the equivalent of 44 million US dollars, in connection with a Turkish defense manufacturer to the Korean Air Force with a big deal that happened in 2009. So he got all this government money to create these weapons, and he just pocketed a lot of it, which is obviously illegal. He was also accused of exaggerating the price of the electronic warfare threat simulator and getting 50 billion won from the Defense Acquisition Program Administration. He's also accused of leaking Korea's defense secrets to Israel and bribing weapon acquisitions officials. So this guy, who was 66 in 2018, I guess, which means he's like 71 or 72 now, he started his career actually as a police officer. And in 1985, he formed this Ilkwang Group, which made weapons trading as its main business. And he actually made a name for himself in early 2000 for getting weapons from Russia, which gave him the nickname the Brown Bear. So in 2009, he also was sentenced to 4 years in jail for embezzling 8 billion won and for breach of trust in that Russia project as well. And so numerous times in this guy's life, he has stolen money from different projects, investors, from the government. Basically, he's just a very unethical and kind of nasty guy. And that's just the money side. And so now let's get into the other side here. Now, this is Clara. She is an actress from South Korea, and she says that basically things went bad, between her when she was signed to the Ilkwang Group, between her and the owner, that guy we just showed, which is Lee Kyu-tae. And basically what happened is he got indicted for blackmail. And so let's go to the next thing here. This right here is an article that actually shows what things were said between them. So she leaves the agency and says that, I'm going to sue you to get out of my contract. I want to nullify my contract because you've been sexually harassing me. And he goes, I'm married, but I have a girlfriend. And I think that you're different from the other entertainers because you make my heart flutter. And then he said things like, if you get married, you'll become unhappy. So she felt sexual humiliation and harassment from his words and his actions. And these are just the things that he texted. I'm imagining in person, things were much more awkward and weird than even this goes into. And so he shot back and said that basically she's trying to make me look bad and everything like that. And it's not true. Well, the courts found that it was true, and she was released from her contract. And interestingly enough, this actually happened back in 2015, this Clara sexual harassment stuff. And that's around the time actually that he sold his company, this guy right here, to his son right here. So the son acquires the music business from his dad, or at least part of it. And, he hasn't said anything publicly about what's been going on legally with his dad. I'm sure it's extremely embarrassing for him. These are the things that happened with his father. His father's a creep. I don't know if the apple falls far from the tree in this situation. I'm hoping that it does. But pretty crazy situation, right? Some other things also that I learned here about the son, Lee Jong-myung. Well, apparently he actually invested 10 billion won into Loona to get them started. And that might sound like a lot of money, but that's actually only 7 million US dollars. And so that's the amount of money that he was able to raise up to promote these guys, is $7 million. And obviously it's paying off because we've got 1.7 million views in just a few hours on their most recent video. So since these guys got signed, they've just been growing and growing, and there's 12 girls in the band, and so they must be doing well to be able to pay 12 singers that well. But that's not the only scandal that's ever happened around Loona. Another pretty interesting story I found is that in 2017, they were at some sort of event, where they were signing records at a bookstore, and this was on December 23rd, so 2 days before Christmas. And so apparently some of the girls who showed up to get their records or whatever signed by the girls in Loona, some of them actually had their contact information stolen by a member on their team. And they would get texts later on saying like, hey, I'm sorry, were you the person that was at the fan sign a while ago? And they said, yeah. And he goes, well, I was there collecting tickets. It's just that, like, you were so cute, and I looked up your ticket, and I found your number, and I'm wondering if you have a boyfriend? I'm sorry if I surprised you. And they said, yeah, I do. And then went on to complain about him, which was then investigated, and the guy was probably fired, although it doesn't say what actually happened to him. But weird stuff like that, even if you're a fan of Loona, the people that work for this group are out there trying to use their fame to do bad things themselves, which is a really weird story. Another story that happened actually just last year is someone on the internet went on there and said that one of the girls in Loona was a bully to her when they were in high school and said a lot of really mean things about her. That was a big story for a while, and people were doing a big backlash against the band. But it turns out that the girl basically admitted that they lied. So they said, all the things that I have written were exaggerated. I didn't have a good relationship with her, and so I think my memories were distorted over time. And that is about as clear as it can get. So that was just another nothing burger story. The girls in Loona are apparently very nice. And another thing that happened really recently, just 3 months ago, one of the members of the band actually participates in this app. And I don't know if the app's available in the US. It might only be available in Korea or somewhere else, but it's called Fab. And basically allows you to communicate with celebrities that you're interested in, so you can ask them questions. It's kind of basically a Facebook page, I guess. Some people were going on there and saying mean things about her, trying to make her feel really bad. Basically got a bunch of harassment and said, you guys are stressing me out, and I'm sorry if I said something that like hurt your feelings or whatever, but I'm taking a break for a little while, basically. And so I guess that's part of the price of fame there, is just in general, people will treat you like garbage. But that's another interesting thing that I saw about Loona, is that, there's a lot of people out there that are hating on them too. And actually, in response to both of those stories I just mentioned, the person lying about one of them being a bully and some of this other online harassment, like I just mentioned, what's really cool actually is that their record label, Blackberry Creative, actually backed them up and said that we'll take legal action against any of these people. We'll sue them basically to force them to admit the truth or to prove that they're lying. And that's pretty cool, because I definitely don't think that the dad, the sexual harasser himself, would have done that. But apparently the son, has the backbone to actually stand up for the women that he represents in his label. And so, big props to him for doing that, for backing them up. When I was reading that, it made a difference to me, to know that their record label has some sort of ethics. So I appreciated that. You can even see here that that girl that said that one of these members of the band bullied her in school said that she actually attacked her and was violent towards her. And so that's part of the reason that the record label stepped up and said that they would do whatever it took, whatever legal action it took to make that stop. They've invested at least $7 million into them, and they're really starting to blow up. And so it makes sense to protect these guys. But, we'll see what happens in the future going forward. Like I mentioned, they've got a brand new video out, which is called Flip That, just came out today. I'm really interested in the business background behind this band. Some crazy stuff has gone on, but it seems like right now things are in a better place with the son in charge, and that things are going well for the band. So I just want to congratulate them on having a monster song that's currently number 4 on trending. I'm sure it'll reach number 1 before tomorrow. So congratulations. I hope that you guys found this interesting, and I'll see you tomorrow.